purpose of this video tutorial is to go over the basics of creating a scene tracker view, or as some call it, a stitch. In this example, we will be stitching together two Quasar 4221 cameras. They sit less than a foot apart, looking at a representation of the New York skyline. To begin, we start by creating the entity for the SceneTracker view in Admin Center Logical View by right-clicking the system icon, Add SceneTracker Views. This creates the entity that we will edit to create the stitch, as well as be the icon displayed in the camera tree of Control Center. For this video, I will rename the new SceneTracker view to Training and save. Next, we flip over to the second tab, Calibration. Select Add Calibrations. The Select Camera window opens. Here we will select the two Quasar cameras. The order does not matter at this time. And then we press Next in the lower right. Capture Videos window. The purpose of this screen is to record a short clip of the selected cameras. This is not a requirement to create a stitch, so this process will be skipped in this example. Select Next in the lower right. Select Frames window. This screen is similar to the Capture Videos window, but has different menus to allow us to take snapshots of the cameras. These snapshots are what we will use to create the stitch. In the upper right is the icon to take snapshots of the cameras. In the lower left, where originally we only had available the live option, now we also have the stills option. It is required to flip to the stills option before one is able to select the next in the lower right. Compose viewing area. This screen is the last and where we will do the bulk of the work in creating a stitch. In the upper left, we have the list of participating cameras, which in this example, their fields of view are represented as the snapshots we took in the previous screen. In the lower left is the orientation map, which will not be used in this example. The upper right is the work area. This is the area where the cameras will be placed and adjusted based on the points and lines we select to stitch the two scenes together. The menu at the top is actually two layers. We will only need to touch on a few of these options to complete the stitch. And finally, in the lower right is the section that I refer to as the magnification area. This area will display digitally zoomed in areas of the video to allow you to fine-tune your points and lines. Going back to the participating cameras, the order is important. The first camera on the list will be the one that will be in the foreground. Every preceding camera below it will be in the background, going down in order. So in this case, this camera here, displayed in full screen for you, or larger view, this will be the camera that will be in the foreground, and this will be the camera that will be, if you will, in the background as far as the overlap. If we want to change it, we use the arrows here to change their position. Now, as we can see, this camera now is at the top of the list, while this camera is at below it. Okay? The camera at the top of the list will not be skewed or changed in any way as far as the aspect when you place the points. Okay, so that's important. If I had 3 or more cameras, it might be recommended to put the center camera or one of the middle cameras at the top of the list, and then moving out towards the edges of the actual overall stitch, the other cameras would be layered down from there. To place the first camera, click the drop down, and we select a point. This point can be anywhere in this specific scene, and it doesn't need to be represented in any other of the camera scenes. So in this case, let's say I take something for over here, and then you basically left click to place that point, and then you move your mouse to the point where you want to place it, and you left click again, and then you hit this button down here, which is match current location. It places your first picture. Okay, so we're now done with that scene. Now we drop down to the second scene in this case, okay? And what we want to do first is we pick a point that appears on both scenes, okay? Both fields of view. So if we notice here, this is the Empire State Building. It is also represented here on both. So first thing I want to do is zoom in, get really, really close. And I'm going to try to pick the very, very tippy top of the Empire State Building. And same thing here. Now I'm going to do it in the work area. I'm going to zoom in. Pick the top of the Empire State Building. Okay. Once again, we choose the match current location. And now the second scene is overlaid. All right, so now we need to choose at least 3 points or a combination of points and lines. Okay. In this example, we're just going to focus on 3 points. All right. So now we need to choose a second point. The second point, once again, all 3 points need to be within both scenes or both fields of view. Okay. So here I'm going to target, and you don't want them to be clustered together. You don't want to try to cluster them all together in one area on both scenes. You want to spread them out. So we're going to choose, let's say, the corner of this building. And then we choose the same corner in this building. Once again, match current location. Now we need to pick one more point. Try to pick this corner of this building here. It's that corner there. We need to zoom in a little bit. Okay. Click match points. Once we have 3 points placed, now we can actually hit this auto, calculate reference points, and then find matching points. We're short for auto, but as you can see, it placed multiple points and stitched it out, remaining stitches. Okay, so now we're basically finished our stitch as far as the actual points are concerned. Okay, and now we are going to complete the presentation. In the upper right, we're going to flip to the second layer of our menu and pick Design Presentation View. Here we have to choose our aspect ratio. Now in this case, I normally choose the wide area or the 9/16. If you think most of your boxes in Control Center are going to be 3/4, obviously go right ahead and choose that. But most screens these days are widescreen, so I'm going to go with the aspect ratio 9/16. And you notice some of our menus change around a little bit down below. Okay, obviously we move to text area instead of our participating cameras. So the first thing is I want to basically increase the size of this overall picture. I want it to take up as much of the tile, if you will, or work area as possible. So we use our zoom. Now the hand to the right of the zoom will allow you to position by left click and drag. Okay, in this example, I'm going to move it actually a little bit to the left, bring it up a little bit more. Okay, and I'm going to actually move it a little off the screen, if you will. Okay. All right. Now, in the lower left, we do select the entire view area. Okay. So here is where you're actually creating a box, and this box will represent the viewing area that they will see in Control Center. Everything else gets cropped or cropped out of the area. Okay, as you can see. Finally, we need to require to still, because we don't have the finish button yet, we need to do this first, number 1 here, select the first specific view area. This is unfortunately a requirement, and what you're trying to do is create a box, and what I normally do is try to leave a little bit of area here for the box, something like that. And now we can hit save, give it a name, Click OK, and then we're able to hit finish. Now we have training 2 as an available, and we say available calibration, and we say set to active. Okay, and what that means is when we drag this training scene stitch into Control Center, that's the actual calibration that's going to be active. You can add another calibration for the same cameras, obviously with different points, different setup, etc.
For further FLIR security training, go to FLIR.com, then Products and Security. From the Security page, you would come to Support and then Training. On the training page, we have it divided currently between in-person training and online training. The in-person training includes certification classes in Latitude and many of our thermal technologies. The online training includes upcoming security webinars, which you see up here on the left, and recorded webinars, which of course continues to grow as we do the current webinars. But over on the right-hand side, you'll see our online training video library where we cover a number of different things in our repertoire. If we go to Latitude, you can see we have a series of Latitude training videos like this one that you just listened to, and we are adding to this list, and it is growing fast.